Shama Sundar Girid Hari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad. Jagat Guru Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Kuruchuramani Sava Shastra Siddhantave Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Leela Pravistam Vishnupad Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswat Thakur Ki Jai. Rupanuga Gurubhagya Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sigaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vas Adi Gaur Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai. Go Gopi Govardhan Shamakunda Radhakunda Kalindi Jamuna Ji Ki Jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Brinda Ki Jai. Samadvaita Vaishnava Mandali Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. All the world devotees Ki Jai. Sri Harinama Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Om. So welcome everybody to our Sunday afternoon broadcast, coming live from the East London branch, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat North London chapter, as we've been doing for the last few years, going through the books of our Guru Varga. Currently going through Affectionate Guidance, which is a compilation of articles and other talks of His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. And today we are on section 4, chapter 27, which is called Excerpts from Letters. Our material life's root is existing within misconception, and through misconception we are now suffering in this material world within the wave of death and birth. Actually, everyone's spiritual form as Atma is very clean, and in that clean position his only duty is to serve in the transcendental service world to his dearmost Lord Krishna. And there the service duties exist in varieties of ways. By the grace of the Hladini Shakti and through his earnest, clean desire, he gets a specific service as appropriate for his devotional mood. That service comes within 5 forms of relationship with his dear most beloved Lord. That is the real and normal position and service duty. Through that dutiful mood, his eternal caste and creed automatically manifests within him. Actually, all the healthy Jiva souls are existing within that transcendental devotional service plane, whereas the Jiva souls here are living within the society of misconception and need to take the opportunity to render some service to Guru and Gauranga. Attachment to Krishna cannot grow automatically within us, and no one who is bound within misconception can give it to us. Then your activities must be for increasing your mood of devotion, and to do that you must follow the 9 kinds of devotional processes, Shravanam, Kirtanam, etc. And also try to engage yourself and mind for the satisfaction of the Vaishnavas. The nature of the mundane world is taking birth, suffering in so many ways. Death, birth, suffering and death repeatedly. It is only possible to leave this misconception by getting the good devotee's merciful connection. And through that electricity we will get our real, beneficial, exalted service life. This is the main thing, and all scriptures show this. What more can I say? The Srimad Bhagavatam said that we cannot be successful through our own endeavor. It is only possible through the sadhu's grace and the grace of Sri Gurudev. For that purpose, and by the Lord's grace, he appears in the form of Sadhu Guru for uplifting the conditioned souls. For the Lord's connection, we will connect with his agent in the form of Sadhu and Guru. Here, all the duties like the rivers flow, must be directed to flow into the ocean of ecstasy to Krishna. This is the main thing. Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu gave Anashaktasya Vishayan Jatarthaham Upayunjata Nirbanda Krishna Sambande Juktam Vairagyam Uchchate. Try to detach yourself from mundane affairs and material necessities. Living within this mundane environment, some necessities and requirements will come. Take them in a harmonizing way for the peace and maintenance of your body and mind. To become detached, try to see everything in relation to Krishna and use everything for his service. Make the focus of all activities service to Sri Krishna. That is sadhana. Again, my blessings with well wishes to you, and Dandavat pranams and well wishes as appropriate to all the devotees in your association. What do we think about that then, gentlemen? Any question from there?
It said that you can't give to someone else if you haven't got it yourself.
Yeah.
Why are we always encouraged to preach Krishna consciousness when you don't have it yourself?
Well, Srila Gurudev gives the example of someone who may be a medical student, right? He may be a medical student studying under a very good doctor, but if some sick person comes to him, he won't say, "Oh no, I can't help you. I only know a little bit about medicine." He'll say, "I'll help you as much as I can with what I have." So, like similarly, we often hear the example, if you see somebody drowning in the river, you don't say to them, "Hold on, I'm just going to go and get some swimming lessons, and once I've learned how to swim nicely, I'll be back to rescue you." No, of course, even if you can only do the dog paddle, you'll try your best to rescue that person. So it isn't necessary to know everything without before you can help somebody. Of course, the old saying is there, "Physician, heal thyself." So there must be something within us, and we cannot say that we didn't get anything from our Gurudev. You know that. Yeah, we know we're all fallen souls, and we're not Mahabhagavat devotees. We're not possessing full Krishna consciousness, but something we have, and with that something we can try to help others. And even if it's only to say, "Well, I can't help you, but I know somebody who can. Come and meet my Guru Maharaj," or come and meet this devotee that I have some faith in myself, or all of this way. And also we can encourage people to read the scripture, which is the condensed teachings of the sadhus, the Mahabhagavats, those who do have real Krishna consciousness. And it's not that the scripture is a dead matter or a dead book. It is living and also can help us. So as much as we are able to help others, we must try to help others. Otherwise, that will be ungrateful. So, like we heard from Goswami Maharaj, said, when you eat something very nice, you don't keep that to yourself. If you have someone there that you care about with you, you'd say, oh, you've got to try this, it's fantastic, it's really good, then similarly, so in Krishna consciousness, if we feel that is something good in our life, that something has helped us immensely in our life, then when we come across others who will also benefit from that, we must try to share that with them. It doesn't mean that you have to be, fully qualified before you can help others.
But what when you get devotees criticizing other devotees, or they think they're more knowledgeable, and you get a devotee come to the temple like me, and you get some people like, they criticize you, and they sort of like, they're judgmental.
Yeah, well,
I get a lot of that. Because when people see me, they assume, he's like this, he's like that, and you could almost see it on their face. It happens to me at ISKCON, it happens to me at a lot of places. Only the odd devotee does that to me, yeah.
Well,
I mean, I do get something out of coming here.
glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it.
No.
No, the thing is, first of all, from your side, that will teach you to be tolerant and teach you to maybe, like Guru Maharaj would say, if you can walk a mile in another man's shoes, right, then you can maybe understand something about them. Is it those that find fault with others is because they have some fault within themselves. So, and that advice is given in the scripture. If you look at the fault of others, you can be sure that same fault will come on you. So, that's why our Guru Maharaj advised us, don't be a drain inspector. So we are not drain inspectors. Why, when there's a beautiful flower garden over here, and on the other side there's a big, like trash heap, why are you more interested in the trash heap than the beautiful garden? And so, if we're always looking to find fault in others, like a drain inspector, well, if you put your head down the drain long enough, you know what you're going to become covered in, right? So, but from our side, we should understand that if someone's criticizing us, well, there must be some reason, something in us that attracts that. So then maybe we can rectify ourselves. But maybe it's completely unwarranted, but still it's come to you for some purpose. So try to understand what that is. What is Krishna trying to tell me here? There's nothing comes to us that's not meant to come to us. But at the same time, those who are finding fault and criticizing others is because they're full of faults themselves.
I find like myself, like I'm disabled and I get in this corner a lot, and I walk in and some devotees say Hare Krishna and some of them don't speak, and if you're in their way they sort of push you out of the way. What's this problem? And he's supposed to be a devotee, he's supposed to be welcoming me in, and he's supposed to be like helping me out, saying, do you need anything, Prabhu?
Yeah, well, no, that's entirely true, but also we don't know like what their journey is either, So, and maybe they had a really bad day. Had this morning heard some news. No, that's okay. But what I'm saying is, we need to try to see that if they're finding fault with others because they have fault in themselves, and they're trying to compensate for that. This idea, there's this idea, and it's a completely material idea, that if you cut off someone else's head, it makes you look taller. So people are like that, you know. It's a terrible trait of human beings. That's why there's so much popularity in all these gossip magazines. Most popular newspaper in the country is just full of gossip. And what they like to do is they like to build somebody up and then find some fault with them, isn't it? Oh, you know, this person, they make them a hero in the eyes of the world. But all the time they're looking like, but there must be some dirt on him somewhere, you know, like once they find that out, nothing they like better than to expose them and bring them down. And somehow we also enjoy that. Otherwise, why are people reading those magazines, right? They read that on those newspapers and they look at it and they go, yeah, I knew they were like that. I always thought there was something bad about that guy, you know. And it makes you feel better about yourself in a kind of perverse way. If you thinking that, and also this is a trait amongst neophyte devotees, is that they start to think they're holier than thou, you know. This is a very common thing, right? But it's also very childish and immature in devotion, you know. So, and also when we go to the temple and we see, you know, devotees dressed like this and with shaved heads, and we think they must like be some advancement in Krishna consciousness, but you know that's not always true. They might have only moved in yesterday, you know. And especially I can say when we were in ISKCON, they had a competition for recruiting new people, like a worldwide competition, and you'd get so many points if they stayed overnight, so many points if they stayed a week, so many points if they shaved their heads, so many points for this, so many points for that. And so they encouraged that, like shaving people's heads that weren't even qualified to live in the temple because they wanted the points, you know. I don't know if they still do that, but it was something. You'll remember that, Darkesh, right? On the Bhakti program. So, and I remember when I went to Bhaktivedanta Manor for the first time, at that time, there was Radha Gokulananda on this altar, where Ramchandra is now. That was Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra were there at that time. And there was a devotee there, and I asked, and I said to him, you know, he was sweeping the temple floor or something, you know, and he was dressed with nice tilak, shaved head, everything, and I thought, well, he's obviously an experienced devotee, must be. And so I said, okay, I understand this is Radha and Krishna, but who are these, right? Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, who are these? And he said, some demigods or something. Innit? Some demigods or something. And for ages I thought, oh, okay, like, what's all that? What? Demigods? Okay. So, you know, then first of all, don't make the mistake of thinking that everyone that looks like a devotee is a devotee. And secondly, we can understand how much somebody has made progress to some degree. We can't see everything, but by how they treat others. You know, it's not about what you say or about how much knowledge you have, how many shlokas you can chant or recite or any of those things. It's about how you treat other people. And, you know, then it's a very fundamental thing, right? Even, you know, we should treat people as we would expect to be treated ourselves. It's only when we think we're more important than that person that we think, yeah, we can push them aside or stand on their heads, on our, you know, trample them under our feet.
Just the way some devotees, the way they speak.
Yeah, it's human nature, Prabhu. So try to be forgiving, and that will be more helpful for you also, and helpful for them if we're humble and forgiving. Then because sometimes they're just primed for a fight, right? They want some reaction from you.
I know they want that, but
yeah. So if you don't rise to that, and if you're humble and forgiving and forbearing, that disarms people. They don't know what to do then. So, and this is Mahaprabhu's advice to us: be tolerant, be humble, give honor to everyone. Don't expect any honor for yourself. I told somebody this the other day. They wrote me. They were writing to me to complain about some particular devotee, and he said in his thing, he said, they made Vaishnava Aparad to me. They said, and I said, well, I don't know anything about that, but we are meant to be tolerant. And I mean, first of all, no real devotee ever thinks that they're a Vaishnava, that anyone can make Vaishnava Aparad against them. So that's the first thing. But I didn't say that. And then he said, oh, you respect them more than you respect me, and I've known you for 30 years, And I said, okay. It's not that. It's that if you... and he said, anyway, Gurudev is in my heart, he knows me, everything, blah, blah, blah. Then I said, yes, but if you study a little deeply the teachings of our Gurudev, you will see that we should not expect any honor or respect for ourselves, and we should try not to see the fault in others. And his reply was, well, you're more advanced than I am, aren't you, Prabhu? And I said, well, advanced or not advanced, this is actually our religion. So, it's not about any of the external things. It's all about practicing humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others. And at the same time, not expecting any honor for ourselves. So, that's a sadhana in itself, to practice that. And that doesn't mean, like just only when you're in the temple. It means in life, we should try to practice that. Of course, Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, we should be humble, tolerant, and give honor to the devotees, not to the mad people in the street. So, then there has to be some proper adjustment to that. Some years ago, well, quite a few years ago now, I used to have a restaurant in southeast London, vegetarian restaurant, and one of the devotees from here, he used to come sometimes, just spontaneously he'd show up and start washing all the pots and everything, I was grateful for him. But that devotee, even Srila Govinda Maharaj forgot his name, because he was always making his obeisances to everybody. And so Srila Govinda Maharaj and all the other devotees, we used to call him Dandavats Prabhu, because that's what he did all the time, right? The children used to make fun of him. They'd say, oh, those are the devotees' shoes, you should make your obeisance. And then he'd go down there, that's Krishna's pot, you should make your obeisance. And they would tease him in this way, So anyhow, so he came to my restaurant, he's washing up, doing everything, I'm talking with the other cook or the waiters or something, then. And when I turned around, he's gone from the sink, he's out in the restaurant making full dandavats to the customers in the restaurant. And obviously they're thinking, this guy's crazy, what's he doing? So I had to run out and say, no, come on, go back in. And, so all of that, isn't a sign of real humility. It's just, it's actually a little bit sign of craziness. And Srila Prabhupada used to say, too much humility is the sign of a thief. Because you be very humble and everybody thinks, oh, he's a very humble Vaishnava, and then no one takes any notice of you. And the next thing he's got his knife down in the donation box trying to get the money out. And we've seen it too. So, so like I said to that devotee who wrote to me, whether you're advanced or you're not advanced, Mahaprabhu's teaching to be humble and tolerant and give honor to others and not want any honor or respect for yourself, that's actually our religion. That's our religion. That's the main teaching of our religion. Because what does the rest of that verse say? It says, if you can do this, then you are qualified to chant the name of Krishna constantly. So, and I posted it on the screen outside there. Srila Govinda Maharaj says, even if you follow all the rules and regulations of the scriptures, but you don't practice humility, you're not tolerant, and you don't give honor to others, but want all kinds of honor and respect for yourself, you will never be successful in devotional life, in Krishna consciousness. Never. Because it's fundamental to who we are and what we are. And we all know that we're not that. We're not humble. We're not tolerant. We do expect, we don't like to honor others, and we want all kinds of respect for ourselves. We know that. But that's why it's called sadhana. Sadhana means practice, you know. It means, you know, like Srila Guru Maharaj used to say, you know, that instead of wanting everybody to think you're a guru, you should beat yourself with your shoes 50 times a day to get that idea out of your consciousness. You know, that should be what you do, like beat yourself 50 times every day with a shoe, so that will go away from you. So, you know, but we're all practicing, aren't we? We're none of us are perfect, and but those who are perfect, and we have some experience in our life of meeting Vaishnavas who are perfect Vaishnavas, that we see that they don't find fault with others, they don't criticize others, and you know, criticism is like a kind of poison, you know, and you can get, it's like a drug, you get addicted to it, you know, finding fault with others and criticizing them. Somehow or another it makes you feel like you're holier than they are, you know. But arrogance has no place in Krishna consciousness. Doesn't mean that you just let everybody walk all over you, but it means that, you know, we are tolerant. We'll be when we see that kind of behavior in others, we should be tolerant, and you know, pray for them that they will improve, and pray at the same time, pray for ourselves that we can be more tolerant and overlook their faults. Isn't that what Jesus says in his Lord's Prayer? You know, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us. So, you know, then it's not just a theoretical thing, Krishna consciousness. It's an actual process that if we follow, we must get the result of that. And at the same time, a good helping of divine grace is necessary for us too. So because that's why Mahaprabhu says that, you know, we have to practice these things because they don't come naturally to us. For so many lifetimes, we've been, you know, trying to make the universe revolve around us. And coming to Krishna consciousness means you have to stop that and realize it's not about me at all. It's all about him, Krishna, and what I can do for his satisfaction. And if we try to find that out by associating with devotees who are more experienced, and also Srila Sridhar Maharaj says they should be simpatico with you. That means, you know, that you should feel some kinship with them. You know, that you feel like, yeah, this is my family, this is my place. This is not like, you know, whenever I go there, I just get a load of abuse or whatever, you know. Why would you want that, you know? You just don't go there anymore if that's the case, you know. Go where people are kind. Go where people are helping us in our Krishna consciousness. That would be, you know, best for us, best for everyone. You don't want to go, and I've had this experience in my life too, that you go to the temple and you come away feeling worse than before you went there. And they're like, why am I going there? You know, this person's just criticizing this one and criticizing that one, and I just feel like completely bummed out whenever I go there. I just don't want to go there anymore.
I still go to ISKCON during the week, and I just ignore them, that's it. And some people are good there.
Yeah, of course, everywhere there's good and bad everywhere, you know. I remember a few years ago, I was on a rickshaw in Calcutta, and the rickshaw driver wants to talk to me, and it's like a motor rickshaw, you know. And he says to me, he says, "So what do you think about the Indian people? You like the Indian people?" And I said, "Well, I've been around the world, and I think people are the same everywhere, you know. Okay, they may have a different customs, different language, different, you know, but everyone is the same everywhere. There are good people and there are bad people everywhere. And India's no exception to that. And anyone who's been to India knows that, you know. There are people there who cut your throat for a few rupees, and there are people there who will bend over backwards to help you. So, you know, and my experience is that's the same everywhere in the whole world. So, you know, then that's just the nature of this material world. Good and bad and in between. And, you know, there's no black and white, you know, this one's evil and this one's good. Everyone's a mixture of it, like to one extent or another. And everyone's going through their own particular journey in life, you know. So where somebody is in their own spiritual evolution, it's not easy for us to see that. And we should try and respect that. That's why Krishna says in the Gita, even if my devotee does something abominable, you should still regard him as a true saint because he's rightfully situated. What that means really, and so we can understand that, it means somebody might be covered with filth, but if they're on their way to have a shower, we don't find any fault with them, isn't it? We don't say, "Oh, that guy's filthy." No, he's going to the shower, he'll be all right in a little bit. So same thing, you know, we may be wherever we may be in our life, but we're trying to become purified by the process of Krishna consciousness. Today or tomorrow, that will happen. So we should be, especially with the devotees, we should be a little bit charitable to them. And then, because if we can be kind and merciful to others, then when we need someone to be kind and merciful to us, then it's more likely to happen, isn't it? You know, if we don't show mercy, kindness, forgiveness, and all of these things to others, why should we expect anybody to show that to us? So, you know, I think it was Mahatma Gandhi who said, "Be the change you want to see in the world. You be that." Then, you know, that will be, I think, you know, good advice for all of us.
I think we also need to be able to discriminate whose opinion and criticism actually is for benefit.
Of course,
and
yeah.
just to tolerate those it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Whatever you said, the environment is a friend. So we need to learn whatever comes our way.
Yeah, that's very true, yeah. So it's not that we're, you know, paragons of virtue ourselves, right? That if just because somebody's criticizing us, the fault's all with them. There's also some fault within us that's attracted that criticism. You know, then we should try and make ourselves like a ideal person. You know, like what was it when they were again, I remember in the life of Jesus, right? They were stoning some woman because she was a prostitute in the street, and Christ said, like, "What's going on here?" And he said, "Oh yeah, they're stoning her, you know, she's a prostitute." And Christ came forward and he said, "He who is without sin, let him cast the first stone." Everybody stepped back. Of course, the joke is, "Mother, put down that stone." But anyway, it's a good example that we shouldn't, you know, condemn others when we are condemnable ourselves. Again, I don't know why all these Christian ideas are coming to me today, but Christ said, "Why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye when you have a big plank in your own?" Oh, you know, this is good advice. Look at yourself first. You know, this is what Srila Govinda Maharaj said. My religion is finding fault with myself. He would say that often. You know, I've got so much fault with myself that I've got it. That's enough for me for many lifetimes to come. I don't need to look at other people's faults. That's between them and Krishna. You know. So if we all followed that advice, the world would be a much happier and more harmonious place. But, you know, everything starts with that. They say charity begins at home, right? So start with yourself.
You mentioned we don't know where the devotee is on his journey.
Yeah.
So there's a common saying that it's very difficult to understand the pain of others. Because if you could understand why they're at that place,
Yeah.
then maybe you could be more sympathetic.
Yeah, so sometimes it just takes a little stand back and a little thought from yourself. So I remember when I was in Vrindavan with Srila Govinda Maharaj one time, and there were some, you know, outside many temples you see beggars, you know, and outside this one temple, some of those beggars, they were lepers also, you know, they've got fingers missing and everything, you know, they're begging, yeah, they're begging and like that, and generally the devotees are not giving anything to them, but Gurudev didn't like that, and he said to us, if you could understand how much they're suffering, you would have to give something to try and help them. And he said, and if they knew how difficult it is for you to earn your money to come here, they wouldn't ask. So, you know, it's a common thing, right, in India, especially in the holy places. When they see the white boys come in there, they think, oh, these people must be loaded. They just see this massive big wad of rupees walking up the road towards them, you know. We went to Barshana, that's the birthplace of Srimati Radharani, and there's a temple there, meant to be the palace of Maharaj Vrishabhanu. There's so many steps going up to it, you know. So many that at the bottom they have people that will, if you're a bit old or infirm or, you know, like disabled or something, they'll carry you in a palanquin for some money. You give some money and they'll carry you up the stairs in the palanquin, right? So we were with Gurudev. He was, you know, a little elderly then. And we all said, Maharaj, you go in the palanquin, we'll pay, we'll arrange it. And he turned around and with a big grin on his face, he ran up those stairs and those steps, and nobody could keep up with him. He was the first one to get to the top of the stairs. And then he's standing there just like smiling, hardly not breathless or anything, you know. But when we reached him at the top there was like one of the devotees, let's say, the priests of that temple, and they saw, oh, here's a guru coming with loads of Western disciples. So they thought, cha-ching, you know, it's his payday, right? So he stood in front of the door with his arms out like this and wouldn't let us in and said, give money for Radharani, and, you know, before you can come in. And anyway, Gurudev told Purnananda Prabhu, yeah, give him 100 rupees. Of course, that was 100 rupees was worth a lot more than it is today. I don't think 100 rupees is even a pound now. But anyway, it was much different then, as we're talking about 30 years ago, pretty much. Anyway, so then he let us in, right? Then there was another priest there with a broom, and he comes, I'm Radharani's sweeper, give me money. The was just like push past him. And then you get to where the actual altar is there, okay? Then when they see you come, they draw the curtain, right, across, so you can't have darshan. Then they ask, give money, then you can have darshan. I gave money to them. And then another priest comes up to us and he says, give money for Raj Bhog. Give money for Raj Bhog. Govinda Maharaj very patiently, he turns to Purnanda, yes, give him 100 rupees, give him 100 rupees. And Gurudev turns around, we were going to like circumambulate the temple there at the top, there's a place you can go around. And as he turned around to go in that direction, that same priest jumped on his back, jumped on Gurudev's back, 100 rupees and then nothing, like, you know, on his back there. And of course, he was pulled down, like unceremoniously pulled down to the ground very quickly, and things could have turned very nasty. But Gurudev, no, it's all right. Gave him some more money, and we went on our way around there. But how tolerant you have to be when you go to these places. We went just recently, 2019, when I last was in Vrindavan, and we went to Radha Kund one evening with Madhusudan Maharaj. He was leading the party there, right? And yeah, I've been to Radha Kund a few times, and my experience has always been the same. The priests there, they're mad for money. They want money. And if they think you look like you've got money, they'll just follow you all the way around there. So, for some reason, they thought, oh, I must have money, you know. So but before we went in, Madhusudan Maharaj said to us, please try not to think badly about the priests here, you know. So because this is the most sacred place in the whole universe, these priests are not ordinary people, you know. They're here by the will of the Lord. So, you know, then you try and keep some honor and respect for them. But they are going to try and get money off you. You know, they're going to try and fleece you if they can, you know.
If it's for a temple, then it's all right.
In many holy places, the priests, that's how they make their livelihood, right? By getting money off people. And then when the Western people come there, they think they must have tons of money, you know, which isn't always true. Some people are there, it's like the journey of their lifetime. They're so poor that they've saved up for this. They're not going to go again there, you know. But anyway, this priest keeps following me around, like, give money. I gave him some money, but it's not enough, right? And then another priest comes up to me and he says, he's got Tulsi, right? He says, this is Giriraj Prasadam. Please take. No charge. And I fell for that one before, so I didn't go for that one. But they try and give it to you, and once you take it, that's it. Now give money. But you said no charge. Yes, but you must give money. You know, like. Anyway, but this one particular priest, he's just following me all the way around. Give money. I said, I gave you money. No, give more. And then finally, when I wasn't going to give him any more, and we'd circumambulated, and there's like a stairs that goes up to where the samadhis of different and bhajan kutis of different saints are. So we're going up these stairs, and the guy just comes up behind me and pushes me in the back, and he says, "You F off from here, you effing effer, you F off," and you know, yeah, he's the priest of that temple, and you know, I didn't respond. I just.
He said it with an accent.
Yeah. Yeah, you effing effer, you F off from here, you know. So, okay. So, you know, that some people like would go, well, you know, that would be the bait. You know, they wouldn't be able to tolerate that. He would like physically push me, and you know, luckily by the grace of the Lord and the Vaishnavas, I just exited it. You know, but someone else might have punched the guy out. Anyhow, but
that was especially for you, I think.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, and the Guru Maharaj would see it that way, because you know, like in Navadvip when on Holi, where they're doing all the colours. Now usually they're washable, but when I first went there, if these people put these coloured powders on you, your clothes are ruined. It'll never come out, And if you get it on your skin, it'll take like a couple of weeks before it's gone. You know, it's like really heavy stuff. And some of the young lads that were doing that, they weren't just doing that. They had like excrement in that they were throwing at people too. You know, like, I don't know what kind of excrement, but it was excrement. And
Is that holy?
on Holi, yeah. So, but Srila Guru Maharaj told us, we don't go out of the temple on this day, you know, unless you want trouble. But there was one man who's sharing a room with me. He was from South America, and he fancied he would get some good photographs of all the local celebrations, right? So he goes out. He's got this like nice SLR camera before digital cameras, you know, like an expensive one. He goes out, and then we said no. Guru Maharaj said not to go out, and he said no, it's all right. I'll be all right. Came back about like 2 hours later. Covered from top to toe with colours, all on his face, all in his hair, everything. His camera was gone. Someone had the camera away from him, and he came back in, you know, and the next morning, Guru Maharaj said to him, "Oh, you got some recognition from Nityananda Prabhu yesterday." But on that same year, our Dayanidhi Prabhu, he had to take was it a letter or something?
Yeah, a message to his...
So he had to take a letter from Armot over to Mayapur, which means going across the river and everything, to one of the temples over there. And Guru Maharaj's secretary called Dayanidhi Prabhu, "You can do this," right? So Dayanidhi Prabhu rolls up, like with a gamsha and a gamsha around the neck, like, if I'm going to get plastered, I'll just wear that. I'm not going to ruin my other clothes, right? And then the Guru Maharaj's secretary said, "Oh, you can't go like that. You're representing Guru Maharaj. You have to like dress properly." So he goes back, puts on his cloth, everything ready to go, and he went all the way there and came all the way back, and nothing on him, not a thing. He was like totally invulnerable to any of it, you know, by Guru Maharaj's grace, isn't it, Prabhu?
It's a test of faith in the Guru.
Yeah.
The power of, you know, it's a test of the power of faith in the Guru. Really.
Yeah.
If you have faith in the Guru, it's very powerful.
Yeah. All right, so let's read the next part. This is also, you know, these are all excerpts from letters. So this one is Srila Govinda Maharaj's reply to someone's letter. "My dear devotees, please accept my humble Dandavat Pranams in remembrance of my divine masters, Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Swami Maharaj. I received your phone call and faxes. Fortunately, I have got the opportunity with my friends like Sripad Sagar Maharaj to preach Krishna consciousness in Brazil, by the grace of the devotees there, especially your grace. I think you are all qualified, mature devotees in Krishna consciousness. When it is you who are recommending someone for initiation, how can I think that they don't know the rules and regulations? For me, it is impossible to think that one who comes to receive initiation does not know about the 4 directives and the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. I am thinking they must all know the primary rules and regulations. Srimad Bhagavatam has stated that by following the directives, one will be pious. Otherwise, if one is engaged in sinful activity, how can he get the connection with and the practice of Krishna consciousness? It is a very simple matter. Before eating, it is necessary to wash our hands, wash the plate, take clean water, and then respectfully take prasadam. Everywhere there is a natural process of rules and regulations. The 4 regulations are the basic foundation for everybody. These regulations are like learning the alphabet. Without learning the alphabet, it is not possible to read any book. Now, when the position you mention has come within our society, I must say it clearly that when anyone wants to practice Krishna consciousness, he must formally or practically try to make himself a pious person. But piety must be disturbed if one will not follow the 4 regulative principles. What do we want? We don't want anything mundane like wealth, women, and fame. Our greatest enemy is fame. Therefore, Srila Saraswati Thakur said it was comparable with a pig's stool. Perhaps for the time being they can't leave the habit, but why should my friends eat that pig stool 24 hours daily? If we have no sincerity in our practicing life, we cannot get the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. Anyway, with full attention and humility, you must tell my friends that this is our healthy principle. On rare occasions, we may see a Paramahansa Vaishnava breaking the rules, like Srila Bhakti Das Babaji Maharaj, whose disappearance day it is today. Disappearance or appearance? Disappearance, yeah.
Today, that is, yes.
Yeah. But that is not our ideal and should never be imitated. So we heard it from Guru Maharaj that Bhakti Das Babaji Maharaj, appearance, disappearance. Yeah. But we heard from him that he was very like avadut, unorthodox Vaishnava, and he used to spread fish scales outside of his bhajan kutir where he lived, so that people would think that he wasn't a Vaishnava, so no one is going to disturb him. And we also heard that he used to smoke ganja in a pipe, but before smoking ganja, he would offer it to Gornitai. And somebody asked Guru Maharaj, did Gornitai accept that offering? And he said, yes, must. It's coming from his pure devotee. How will they not accept? Okay, blew my mind. But Gurudev is saying here, this is not our ideal and should never be imitated. When we are forming a society or anything, that is only as eyewash to satisfy the mundane requirements. But what is the value of a nose without breath? Our life force is the mood of devotion to Krishna, and that will increase with the association of and service to the devotees. No doubt there is gradation, but that is because we are unqualified, and we must follow according to junior and senior positions. On the whole, we must not forget that we are practitioners as students. The first requirement of practicing Krishna consciousness is to serve and satisfy the Vaishnava. If we only sing Vaishnava Thakura Doyara Sagara Edase Karunakori day and night without following that, then the fruit will not come to our hand. When we cannot help ourselves, how can we help others? So it is my request to my friends that they try to follow this principal directive. The scriptures have said, Sadhu Sange Krishna Nam E Matra Choi, Sangsara Jinitiara Kono Vastu Noi. Service to Guru and Vaishnava without offense, and service to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra without offense are one and the same thing. So whatever we do, we must not be offenders to Harinam and the Vaishnavas. And we cannot get this qualification, and we can get this qualification through humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others. If we are sincere and sacrifice ourselves, we must follow these directives of Sriman Mahaprabhu. Mundane ego can destroy everything, so we must first try to leave our ego and fully surrender to Guru and Vaishnava. It is my request to my faithful friends that what will be practically suitable for our preaching mission there, you try to do that happily together. It is my desire that everyone will come under one umbrella and happily give nourishment to each other and serve the devotees, the deity and our mission. From far, what can I say more? What do you say, Daini Prabhu?
I don't think I can add anything to that.
And it also, when Gurudev was here, he chastised me once for that. Because, you know, then we know when Gurudev came, right, so many people came forward for initiation. But when Gurudev giving initiation, he's never saying, what are the four regulative principles? You know, he never asked that. So I guess because of that, some people thought, oh, we don't follow it, right? They thought, oh, that temple's really good. They don't even ask you what the regulative principles are. But Gurudev said to me, if someone's sitting there for initiation, I presume that you are recommending them to me. And if you are recommending them to me, then I presume also that they know what these regulative principles are. I don't need to ask them. Everybody knows what they are, right? Dutam panam striyam shumam. That's given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Dutam means cheating, dutam, or gambling, or earning your livelihood dishonestly, or, you know, deceiving others, getting money by deception, all of these things. Dutam, that's called dutam. And panam means intoxication. You know, then, of course, that means generally alcohol and drugs and tobacco and all of those things. And but we heard from Guru Maharaj that you know, that some of the people from West Bengal, where from Bamanpara, where Srila Gurudev comes from, some of them came to ask for initiation from Guru Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj said, and one of them was a very famous, like, stick fighter. You know, in Bengal they have that, like a martial art, stick fighting. And this man was very famous stick fighter. And Guru Maharaj said to him, do you know that you have to follow these 4 principles, right? No gambling, yes, I know that. No illicit sexual, like, yes, I know that. And no meat eating, yes, I know that. And no intoxication, right? Panam. And he said, yes, I'm not taking any intoxication. And he said, what about ganja? And he said, oh yeah, I'm taking ganja. That's not intoxication. There's a common idea amongst, you know, sadhus that it helps you with your meditation and these things. It's not intoxication. It's like a herbal help or something, you know. And Guru Maharaj saying, no. That is also intoxication. You have to stop the ganja. And he did. He said, oh, okay, I'll try. But Guru Maharaj accepted him. Anyway, so then he asked me, okay, so I don't want to have to ask these people if they understand that. That anyone who's coming forward, you have to make sure that they understand those things before you put them forward to me. And if they misbehave because they think we don't require that from them, that's your fault. Okay. Okay, Gurudev. And I must say, and there were quite a few people who came forward that weren't properly qualified for initiation, but they weren't all recommended by me. There were others here too, right? Sadhu Maharaj was here, and you know, other people. And some people, they just would show up, sit down to get initiated. We didn't even seen them before. But anyway. But yeah, it's...
And they disappear in the same way.
Yeah, and those same people, they would disappear. We wouldn't see them after that either. There was this common idea that, oh, if you're not up to the standard and you can't get initiated in ISKCON, oh, go there. Chaitanya Saraswat, they'll initiate anybody. There was this common idea, unfortunately. But no. And Srila Govinda Maharaj said, actually it's not 4, it's 5 things. Because there's Dhyutam, Panam, Striyam, Shunam, and Jatarupam, which means hoarding gold. Like hoarding money, that's considered to be sinful, because from that, all those other things become available to you by keeping money that you don't need. So we are informed that you should only have as much money as you need to live, and any excess money that you have, that should be utilized in Krishna's service. He said, but A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he couldn't tell that to others because he needed money for his mission. He needed like that. Anyway. Really, religion of the Jiva souls is one. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Krishna said, Mayado Brahmane Prokta Dharmo Jasyam Madatmakam. Sriman Mahaprabhu said more clearly, Jivara Sharupahoy Krishnera Nityadas. There is no doubt that all the demigods or God's power is coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is Sri Krishna. After realization in every way and all directions, it is firmly concluded in all scriptures and supremely in Srimad Bhagavatam that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Sri Krishna. Our only aim and object is Krishna Prema, divine love for Krishna. And this is also concluded in all the scriptures. Now it is very clear, by the causeless mercy of Sriman Mahaprabhu, and later on by their divine graces, Om Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, and Om Vishnupad, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada. We are very insignificant and no doubt extremely fallen souls. Before also it was so unfortunate, but now it is not. Actually, the door of our fortune was opened for us by their divine grace's causeless mercy. We don't always get such a chance. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we see this shloka, Nrideham madhyam sulabham sudurlabham, plavvam sukalpam guru karnadaram, mayanukulyena nabasva teritam, pumam bhavadvim na taretsa atmaha. Sriman Mahaprabhu is the non-different form of the divine couple. He appears as a giver of the supreme goal of life, and himself has taken the form of a practitioner. He showed his divine preacher's form in a very sweet and simple way. Therefore we are relieved from all anxieties. Now our only duty is to perfectly follow under the guidance of his associates. The way is very simple. Nacho gao bhakta sange korek sankirtan, akanta koriya kara prasad bhakshana. The clue to the practitioner's success is contained within this verse. The only necessity is sambandha gyan, which means to know our divine relationship and natural duty in connection with the Lord. That is our Sarup Sampad. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Atmara Ananda Prashavana, the fountain of ecstasy for the Jiva soul. A very easy way to practice Krishna consciousness was given by Sriman Mahaprabhu and later by his divine associates in this age. We only need to have clear faith and avoid Vaishnava Aparad. How sweet the way of practice! Dance and sing with the devotees. Chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and take Mahaprasadam. And Sharirar Abhijajal Jodendriya Tahika Jive Fale Vishaya Shagore Tara Majji Javayati Lobhamoi Sadurmati Take Jata Kotina Sangsare Krishna Baradoyamoy Koribar Jiva Joy Shah Prasad Anadilo Bhai Se Naam Ritta Pao Radha Krishna Gunagal Premi Dako Chaitanya Nitai. Through that you get your elixir of life, and it will easily spread to others through your sincere activities, and they will be extremely benefited as you are. Reading your whole letter, I have got so much enthusiasm. I have no doubt about your grace, that if you will try sincerely, you can do something for the greatest auspiciousness of all. To practice Krishna consciousness is a very nice process. Who will practice must be benefited, and through his practicing, others also must be beneficiaries. Our lifetime is very short, and we do not always get such an opportunity. Then what one wants to do immediately. This is the advice of the scriptures. So please realize all these things and do the needful. Actually, Krishna consciousness is very simple. It just means try to serve Lord Krishna under the direction of a good Vaishnava. They will give you good nourishment, good direction, and together participate with the other Vaishnavas in Nama Sankirtan. Nama Sankirtan is the religious process for this age of Kali. Through Nama Sankirtan you'll get everything, and try to live your life by existing on the remnants of Lord Krishna. This is what that verse says, actually, Sharirada Vidyajal. This is composed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So it means, that all of the problems in our practicing life, they will go if we just try to subsist on the mercy of the Lord. Whatever comes to us as mercy of the Lord, we'll take that and live. We find this in a verse by Vedavyas in Prapanna Jivanamritam, that if my devotee is offered Krishna Prasad, then happily he will take that. And if there is no one offer prasadam to him, then without anxiety, he take the name of the Lord and fast. No problem. It is the same to him. We see the same to him. And you can read more about how that's practical and possible through the Prema Vaibharta of Jagadananda Pandit. There is very clear there. He gives the different standards of devotion for those who are householders and those who are renunciates. And I saw this, I have to say this, because when I was in Ukraine before the war, every year in Kiev, we used to hold a big festival, Vaishnava festival there, and called Veda Life. And it was over 4 days, Friday to Monday, over a weekend. And that festival was very well attended by especially young people. Because that Ukraine was part of Russia, and there means communist government. So under communism, religion is illegal. Like even today in China, we have some devotees in China, but they have to hide that they're practicing Krishna consciousness. And when our preachers go there, they can't go dressed like this or with the red cloth or anything, because the government, they offer a reward if you will tell, any religious preacher, and they'll put you in prison and give a reward to somebody for saying, yeah, they do. And they really know, they already know what you're doing. So, it's very carefully they have to do. So also, it was like that before in Russia too. I remember going to India through Russia once upon a time on their airline, Aeroflot. We all gone on Aeroflot to India. It was one of the cheapest airlines to go to. But going through Moscow is like huge airport. I don't know if any of you have ever been there, but it's like maybe as big as Heathrow Airport. Like maybe not quite as big, but at that time it was always deserted. There was like just a few people in transit there, and there was like nobody there really, or at least when I went there was no one there. So one day we were going there, and some of the people who worked there, they came up and they said, "Oh, you're Hare Krishna?" Yeah. He said, "Have you got any of those books?" "Yeah, you got some books." Yeah, and they wanted to buy the books. So anyway, it was so it was like that in the Ukraine before. Then, of course, after the fall of communism, then you were free to practice religion if you wanted to. So then, when the devotees went there for preaching, so many young people came forward. It was like something that had been denied for them for so long. So anyway, so our Bhakti Bimal Avadut Maharaj, who was a charger in Russia and Ukraine, he used to hold these festivals in Russia and in Ukraine called Veda Life. And sometimes he would invite me to go there to speak. And we would go. And so you won't believe how well attended it was. Every day, at least 20,000 people would come there. Every day. And there's many things happening there, but one big stage there, and we would be giving lectures there. And like so many people would come to those lectures, and they have so many questions. They were just very eager to understand that. So why was I saying all about that? Oh yeah, so now I remember. So this one year we were there, and we were with our god brother. His name is Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj. And there was one area where the devotees would, go to relax after they'd given their lecture and take prasadam and so on. It was just reserved for the devotees, that area. So we were sitting there, and they're bringing prasadam to us. And there's these two young girls, devotees, that they're serving the prasadam. And then one of them says to Maharaj, "Is anything you would like? Anything that I can get you that you'd like?" So in Russia, this is kind of different style of prasadam, right? They don't eat rice, they eat buckwheat. And, it's kind of, let's say compared to Indian cooking, it's kind of bland mostly, There are a few devotees who knew how to cook some kind of Indian style, but not so many. So then Madhusudan Maharaj, he lived for the past 30 years in India, serving Guru Maharaj. And so he's used to Indian cooking. So then he asked the girl, he said, "Anything you'd like?" And he said, "Well, if you can find a chili, I'd like a green chili, that would be very nice." He said, so anyway, she goes and looking, and maybe 10 minutes later she came back and, "Oh, sorry Maharaj, there's no chilies anyway." I said, "That's okay." Just taking prasadam. And then she goes away, she's a little disappointed. Then maybe 4 or 5 minutes later, she comes back with a green chili. She's got like this big green chili, like about that big. And Maharaj, I found a chili for you. And he says, yeah, just because it was so big, just cut it in half, give me half. So she gave half, he took it, he was happy. And it was, by all accounts, a good chili. But then I said to him, I made a mistake. I said to him, so Maharaj, why don't you just keep the other half, and then next time you have prasadam, you've got like it. And he looked at me as if I'd asked him to go out and rob a bank or something. He looked at me and he said, oh no, Prabhu, I can't do that. I can't keep anything for myself. And I was like, whoa. And then I realized, oh, this is the proper behavior of a sannyasi. He's a sannyasi. So sannyasis should not keep anything for themselves. Whereas a grihasta, they should always have a good stock of everything in their home. This is the difference. But a sannyasi, no, won't even keep half a green chili for himself. This is sadhu. It's always been like that, actually. Let's go on for a while. Wow. This is another reply to a letter from Srila Gurudev. Please accept my blessing in remembrance of my Divine Master. I am happy to receive your letter with news of the devotees and Srila Guru Maharaj's divine mission in Malaysia. That means this letter's from Madhusudan, because he was the preacher in Malaysia. And when he was a Brahmin, then he was Mahananda Prabhu. I am always remembering you and all the devotees there, and I am praying to Srila Guru Maharaj that he look after you all. After hearing carefully all your news, I am now giving answer to your questions one by one. A. Srimad Bhagavad Gita manifests originally in the Mahabharata on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Bhagavan Sri Krishna himself gave us this ecstasy to the faithful, fortunate jiva souls for their super benefit of transcendental body strength and service. One shloka you will see in the Gita Mahatmya invocation. Sarvo Panishado Gavo Dogda Gopal Anandana Partho Vatsha Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitam Ritam Mahat. Very much attractively and simply explained, everything is in this Gita Mahatmya sloka. You know the gist of the Vedas are the Upanishads, mentioned as a cow. Krishna is using Arjuna as the calf of that cow for making the milk flow, and the faithful, fortunate souls of good, pious intelligence are drinking that milk. So this is, like in India especially, they know this secret. Here in the West, they make a policy, when the calf's born, take it immediately from the cow. But in India, they know, if you want to milk the cow, if you bring the calf nearby, she'll give more milk. Seeing her baby, she'll give more. So this is mentioned in Gita Mahatmya, that Arjuna is like the calf, and milking that knowledge from Lord Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is giving in varieties of ways: karma yoga, jnana yoga, hatha yoga, bhakti yoga, an exclusive devotional method. The chance to take the opportunity of that rescuing process from the illusory environment to Vaikuntha Loka, upward to Goloka Vrindavan. In the Vaishnavya Tantra Sara, in the section explained as Gita Mahatmya, the glories of Sri Gita are explained to us in varieties of ways. But the Vaishnava Acharyas like Vishwanath Chakravarti Baladev Vijayabhushan, and especially Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they express the line of drinking that full cream milk as exclusive devotional method. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur, following Bhaktivinoda Thakur's line, avoided focusing on other intentions, as we can see in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and the Narada Pancharatra. Anya Bilasita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam Bhaktir Uttama Sarvopadi Vinir Muktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Ujjate. Therefore, those who want the mundane benefit up to Satyaloka must be attracted to see the full Gita Mahatmya and read Bhagavad Gita. They also will gradually get a superposition in the plane of dedication by the mercy of the residents of that plane. So we can say those who are very much eager and who have much hankering for exclusive devotion to Krishna will not try to take that opportunity explained in the Gita Mahatmya of Vaishnavya Tantra Sara. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur published the Gita with the commentary of Sridhar Swami, Vishwanath Chakravarti and Baladev Vijayabhushan, and following them in the Bengali language, the commentary of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. There, the full Gita Mahatmya is not published. But Srila Guru Maharaj, seeing the present condition of the conditioned souls, very mercifully, when he presented our edition, he gave the Gita Mahatmya for their general encouragement. So now we can say to everybody, go as you like. B. It is explained in Bengali by Krishnadas Kaviraj. Dikka kale bhakta kare atma samarpana. Se kale Krishna tare kare atma sama. Se deha kare tara Chiddanandamaya, Aprakrita Dehe Tanra Charana Bhajaya. From the Antya-lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. I tried to explain it in English, but my English is very poor and not sufficient for explaining everything. But the Bengali verse is perfect, and you will see in Chaitanya Charitamrita the explanation of Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada. The soul by nature is spiritual, but it is of the Tatastha Shakti. He has the possibility of obtaining a fully serving spiritual form. And he has the possibility to be in material existence by becoming covered by material consciousness. The bound Atma gets a subtle and physical body. Until he surrenders to Guru, that divine soul is covered by matter, and he is disconnected from the transcendental service world. But when receiving initiation, which means that when he fully surrenders to Krishna in the form of Guru, that surrendered position is explained by Srila Saraswati Thakur and Srila Swami Maharaj in the Antya-lila. With his willing, feeling and thinking consciousness, he is surrendering to Krishna in his dedicated mood of sacrifice. Krishna is seeing his sincere attitude and immediately gives him in seed form his own transcendental form as spiritual body, and gradually that will manifest as Satapata Veda Nyai. A needle passes almost, but not quite, instantaneously through a pile of leaves, with some small difference of time from leaf to leaf. When he gets the direct service form to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, where are playing 5 kinds of ecstasy as rasa, as suitable by his own hankering service mood to Krishna, he is getting his male or female form accordingly. But on the whole, when realizing the position of the Jiva soul, we must say it is coming as the power of Krishna Tatastha Shakti, And that means every potency's identification is as female. But it can be transformed in the mood of male, such as Dasya Rasa, Sakya Rasa, and Vatsalya Rasa. All of them are serving Krishna, and the mood of service is Prakriti. But their action may be as a male by the mercy of Mula Sankarshan. If we translate those verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita word by word, we must say that this body is transformed to a transcendental form. But Srila Saraswati Thakur gave some explanation in his Anubhasya in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Srila Swami Maharaj has seen it and given his purport for our clarification in English. There you can see, and then you must understand. At the time of initiation, this is the translation, at the time of initiation, a devotee gives up all his material conceptions. Therefore, being in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is situated on the transcendental platform. Thus, having attained knowledge and the transcendental platform, he always engages in the service of the spiritual body of Krishna. When one is freed from material connections in this way, his body immediately becomes spiritual and Krishna accepts his service. However, Krishna does not accept anything from a person with a material conception of life. When a devotee no longer has any desire for material sense gratification in his spiritual identity, he engages in the service of the Lord. For his dormant spiritual consciousness awakens. This awakening of spiritual consciousness makes his body spiritual, and thus he becomes fit to render service to the Lord. A karmi may consider the body of a devotee material, but factually it is not, for a devotee has no conception of material enjoyment. If one thinks that the body of a pure devotee is material, he is an offender, for that is Vaishnava aparad. C. Astral travel is the traveling of the mental body out from the physical body. But when the jiva soul travels from the material body, that takes place at the time of death. D. Offering bhoga to Krishna, we can sing the bhajan, Bhaja Bhakata Vatsala Shri Gora Hari. Arati will then be held, during which time the devotees may sing Jashomati Nandana and Jai Sachinandana. This also is the tradition here in Sri Chaitanya Saraswata Math. In giving answer, I am always feeling restricted by my lack of English. But you consider these points, and I think you must understand my expression. Wow, bang on 2:30. Is any question about that? Well, all right. Or anybody has some question?
Perhaps you can explain a little bit more about the soul and the body, the difference, and maybe more. Expand a bit.
Yeah. So the two types of material body that every living entity possesses, that's called stula and deha. That means the mental body and the physical body. So the material body is formed by the mental body. In other words, your consciousness determines what your physical body will be. So sometimes it's said that the physical body is the material expression of the soul's delusion. But the Atma within the body that activates the body is the spiritual spark, which is our actual self. But while we are covered by the mental and the physical body, more or less we can say that the Atma, the actual self, is in the dormant or sleeping state. But the identification of the Atma is to be the eternal servant of Krishna. This was, Mahaprabhu was asked this question by Sanatana Goswami. You may have heard of Sanatana Goswami, very famous, of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan and an associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when they met, he asked Mahaprabhu, Ki ami, who am I? Ki ami, and why am I suffering in the material world? You know, Sanatana was a great scholar. He knows the answer to that question, but for our benefit, and also because he wants to hear from Chaitanya Dev, he asked this question. And this was Mahaprabhu's reply, very famous verse. Jivara Sharupahoy Krishnara Nityadas, Krishnara Tatasta Shakti Bedabe Prakash. That means you are the Jivatma, the spirit within you, or body. So we, you know, when we talk about ourselves, we say my hand, my feet, my face, my ears, these are things that belong to us. But we also say my soul, but that's not correct. Actually, Atma means I soul. I soul. That is who you are. It's not that you have a soul. Your soul has a body, a material and a mental body covering yourself. Jivara Srupaho, you are the Jivatma, the spirit, the soul that activates everything, pervades everything within the body, like a spark of consciousness. And what is your Shwarup? Jivara Shwarupahoy. That means your true form. Krishnara Nityadas, the eternal servant of Krishna. Not just you know, the devotees of Krishna, they're the eternal servants of Krishna, and someone else may be the eternal servant of this one or that one, or no. Actually, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes. This is proven by, in Brahma Samhita, there, a very famous verse also there. How does that begin? Someone tell me? Ishvara Parama Krishna Sajchit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So this is the prayer, a prayer composed by Lord Brahma, the engineer, creator of the universe, four-headed Brahma, firstborn person in the creation, but self-born from the lotus of the navel of Vishnu. And in his prayers, in Brahma Samhita, this verse, Ishvara Parama Krishna. So the Parameshvara, the supreme controller, enjoyer, beneficiary of everything, is Krishna. Krishna is the Parameshvara. Ishvara Parama Krishna. Satchit Ananda Vigraha. And he is the embodiment of Sat, truth, consciousness, Chit, truth and eternality, Sat, and Chit, consciousness. I think, therefore I am. He's the very embodiment of all consciousness. Ananda, bliss. Sat, Chit, Ananda, Vigraha. He's the embodiment of those things. He is truth, eternity, consciousness, and ecstasy as a person. Anadir Adir Govinda, and he is the original cowherd boy of Vrindavan. Adir Govinda, the master of the cows, the lover of the cows. Satchidananda Vigraha, Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana. That means that he's the cause of all causes. The cause of all causes. Dainidhi Prabhu told me when he was a little boy, he asked his mother, who created us? And she said, God created you. And then he said, who created God? But God has always been. Actually, we have all always been, but he is the cause of everything. There is no other cause of him than him.
Because he exists.
Because he exists forever, eternally. And everything exists because of him. Let there be light, there was light. Let there be water, there was water. By his desire, everything is existing. This is Krishna. And everyone comes from him. All the gods, all the goddesses, even all of the Vishnu forms of the Lord, they all originate in Krishna. Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam, Devashis told. But Krishna, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, we are all his eternal servants. Our Guru Maharaj would say, in his language, he would say, you are designed and destined for that. That's why you exist. Jivara Sharupa Hoy Krishnara Nityadas, Krishnara Tatasta Shakti. Tatasta Shakti means you are of the marginal potency of the Lord. The Tatasta, Tata means the line of demarcation. And in the scriptures it's been told, like where the ocean meets the shore. You can't say it's completely ocean, you can't say it's completely land. It's like between the two. So that is Tatasta. And Guru Maharaj gave us a very nice example for us to be able to understand that. In 1947, there was the partition of India. So at that time, East Bengal, which was previously part of India, then became Bangladesh. And they took a map, the people who were making that, the government, I guess, and they drew a line. This is India, this is Bangladesh. But for some people, that line went right through the middle of their house. Like their living room is in Bangladesh and their bedroom is in India. And not just a few, a lot of people, they didn't really think it properly through. But so what that means then was that for those people, they had to be given dual passport. That they can go to India or they can go to Bangladesh, they can live in either place. That's Tatasta. So the Jiva soul is like that. He can go to the spiritual world or he can live here in the material world. He's adaptable to both. That's Tatasta. And when that Tatasta Jiva, we are that, becomes fortunate and gains the grace of Krishna, then he goes to the spiritual world. And generally, we can say the majority of Jivatma, Tatasta Shakti Jivas, they go to the spiritual world to serve Krishna. But some, attracted by the glitter of the material world, have come here. And that means they want to try and live without Krishna, or more bluntly, to be a Krishna themselves. I'll be Krishna, I'll find my Radha, and I'll make a perfect life for myself here in the material world. That's us, folks, that's us. We are here in this material world because why? Because Krishna has given us free will. So free will also means not just the right to do the right thing, but also the right to do the wrong thing. Otherwise, it's not freedom. So we made, you can say, in a very general way, we made a bad choice. We came here to the material world. But Krishna's so kind He doesn't just like lock the door and throw away the key. Okay, get on with it. He comes himself to remind us, or he sends his devotees to remind us, hey Jiva, this is not your real home. Come home. And gives us some method by which we can attain that. So then that's our position as Tatastha Shakti and Veda Ved Prakash. Veda Ved means that because we are also by nature spiritual, then we are one with God, being part of God. But at the same time, because he is infinite and we are finite, means very small and very weak, then, and he is always the master, we are always the servant, so we are one with him and at the same time different from him. And this applies actually to everything. Achinta Beda Bed. This is Mahaprabhu's Siddhanta, is called Achinta Beda Bed. And Achintya, deliberately that's chosen, that word by Mahaprabhu, means inconceivable. So this is, first of all, we have to accept that principle, that the truth of who we are and who is God, everything like that, actually that's inconceivable to us. It's Achintya. But, and then Veda Ved Prakash. Inconceivably, we are one with him and at the same time different from him. And when we understand that, then we can understand who we are and what is our life's goal. So, but until then, we're, you can say, unconscious to our real nature and our real self. Our and what is our real fortune. You can say we're like you know, sometimes you may see it on a television, a drama, where when two babies are born and inadvertently they get mixed up, right? The one baby goes to the poor family and the poor baby goes to the rich family. But something is there, right, in the tale, that the actual rich baby, or from the rich wealthy family, some like a locket or something that, and then one day when he's grown up, someone's, what? Where did you get that locket? Oh, I've had it since. This is your home. You are the inheritor of this fortune. You like some mix-up when you were born, and so we're kind of like that. Our inheritance is to live with Krishna eternally in the spiritual world, but we've forgotten that, and so we're here laboring in a false conception of life. But something marks us, and that is that Krishna, we may have forgotten him, but he has not forgotten us. So therefore he comes, and yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati, like age after age I come and advent myself, just to teach the people what is their real position and how they should come to the real world. And when that happens, so this is, Mahaprabhu has given this in his Shikshastakam, Chaitanya Day, 8 verses. First, Chaito Darpana Marjana, that by the process of Nama Sankirtan, the dirt which covers our soul, that means acquired misconception, acquired prejudice, and everything that we've acquired, birth after birth after birth, that makes us think we belong to this material world. That is compared to like dirt on covering a mirror. When you look in the mirror, you can't see yourself. You can only see the dirt. So, but Nama Sankirtan, the chanting of Krishna's holy names, clears that dirt from that looking glass of our consciousness, that we can perceive our own self. The soul can see himself. The soul can understand his spiritual nature simply by this process of Nama Kirtana, Sankirtana. that will give us, that will activate our dormant soul within us. It will begin to awaken, like you can say, like somebody in a coma in the hospital. Then sometimes it's seen that, you know, that person's friends and relatives, they come there and they talk to him or they sing songs to him that he might remember from before. Gradually, that can bring him from his unconscious state. Oh, that song reminds me something, you know, then until the coma is gone and he's awake, can cooperate with the doctor. So something like that. By the process of Nama Sankirtan, our dormant state or our sleeping soul begins to awaken up. And when it awakens to a sufficient state, then he can cooperate with the doctor now for his treatment. Doctor means the Vaishnava Guru. The Vaishnava Guru can now help that person you have to cooperate with the doctor. Before he's in the coma, they can only just keep him alive and there's no consciousness there, detectable for the outside world. But when he comes out of that coma, even when he's beginning to come out of that coma and he can see something, then he can cooperate with the doctor and that can bring about his full recovery. So something like that. Now our soul is dormant, sleeping, but simply by the process of Nama Sankirtan, gradually we begin to awaken to our real interest. And then Krishna, so mercifully, he will connect us with the best doctor to help us. And the best doctor means Sri Gurudev, the Vaishnava. Guru and Vaishnava, they can help us to actuate our real life's fortune. And as Srila Sridhar Maharaj, our Guru Maharaj says, you're designed and destined for that. That's why you exist. Not just for going round and round and round on the wheel of samsara. Birth, death, old age, disease, you know, like that. Cycle. Born, live for some time, suffer, enjoy, die, born, and the process going round and round and round. There's no escape from that until and unless the soul is able to wake up. And the only problem is we don't want to wake up. I often give this example of my daughters when they were younger and we had to wake them in the morning for school. We'd say, okay, time to wake up now. And they go, no, Dad, I'm having a really important dream here. Like, why are you waking me up from the dream? Let me go back to my dream. No, you have to get up now or you'll be late for school. They get up, having breakfast. So what was that important dream? I can't remember now. Can't even remember. Anyway, off to school. So it's like that. Now we are thinking that our dream, material life dream, is very important. We don't want somebody to wake us up from that. So when the sadhu comes to tell us, hey, you're in Maya, you're under illusion, you have to wake up from that. We don't like to hear that. No, I have this important thing I have to do, that important thing that I have to do. That. But when the soul is fully awake, and what were those important things? I don't even remember what they are, you know. I only know Krishna and Krishna's service. Now this is the process of Bhakti Yoga, which has been given to us by Lord Krishna himself as Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya Dev. Sri Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahyanya. Mahaprabhu Chaitanya Dev is the combined form of Radha and Krishna. Come to wake us and to bring us to our real position in life. Then nothing required of us, only that we will chant the name of the Lord. Chant the name of the Lord, hear Harikatha, take Krishna Prasadam, and be happy. So we will end our discussion here today. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Harinama Sankirtan ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanand.